the Built Different podcast.
A podcast called Built Different.
It's time for the Built Different podcast.
This is, here we are back again. Built Different podcast, episode number 9. Having fun with hardwood flooring. I have a special, very, very special guest again. So thankful to be able to have him. I've known him since freshman year of high school. Our lockers were literally right next to each other. He sat behind me in every homeroom I had all the way through high school. So we've known each other a little bit. But also, you guys have heard me say many times that I still have subs from back when my dad was alive. And this is one of the subs I had. So here is Dana, the hardwood floor expert, Hanson.
Hey, John, how are you?
Good.
Good to be here.
Oh, it's great to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem.
What's so funny?
Nothing. Let's start in the beginning. You've been doing hardwood as long as I've known you. I mean,
Yeah.
I think you started in high school. Am I right? Working for someone?
I did weekends and holidays and summers. I started doing that in 1985.
Oh, so you were 15?
I was 15 years old, yeah.
Wow.
Just
And who?
part-time.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it was a family friend that got you interested? Or?
The name of the company was Northland Flooring, and they had asked a friend of mine if they knew anybody that needed a job, and they gave him my name, and I went and worked a few days for him, and we got along good, and he offered me the job, and I started working weekends, holidays, summers, April vacation, stuff like that.
Awesome. And that stuffed a little extra cash in your pocket?
Yeah, I remember actually taking the bus as a sophomore. I'd take the bus after school and get dropped off at his house to go to work.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah, I loved it. I think my first paycheck, I was making $3.50 an hour
Yeah.
on the books, getting
Yeah.
taxes taken out and everything.
So I've talked about that with my first framing job for my cousin. I was $5 an hour.
Yeah, oh, that's big money. Yeah,
Yeah.
you were doing well.
But that's how it was back then.
Yeah.
And you were psyched. You were probably making more than all your friends, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
it was nice to have money in my pocket on Friday and Saturday nights.
Now, as far as what you learned doing that turns into where you are now and what
Yeah.
you're doing now.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about that, how trades are really so awesome to get that knowledge early in life.
It is. It's valuable. I think any kid these days would benefit from working. You know, you get a different kind of view of things than you do in school.
Yeah.
I got tossed into a group of older guys that I learned a ton from, you know, and one of them was just, I had to really work hard. They didn't mess around, you know. You had to work to get by with those guys, and I learned a lot about work ethic and stuff like that, and respecting your elders and people on the job site. You didn't mouth off to people, you know. You learned respect really real fast.
Now, would you say that's different than it is today?
Well, yeah, I hate to be that person, you know, kids today. I never thought I'd be the one saying that, but yeah, I mean, sometimes you see kids, they don't seem to want to work. Well, maybe they don't need to, or they just, I don't know what the deal is, but I personally can't find, it's hard to find good young people that want to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think that's pretty much the whole industry. I think all the way through electricians.
Yeah.
That's why
It's
I'm
too
so
bad.
excited about my daughter's boyfriend.
Yeah.
He's taking his test. I think it's this week or next week to become a plumber.
Yeah.
And,
I've seen him on the job site. He can work.
he's a hustler.
Yeah, he can work.
He's old school work and
Yep.
kid. You know what I mean? I can appreciate that.
Give me a couple of guys like him, it would be great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. So, what would you say brought you to the point where you were like, you know, I've been doing this a long time. It's time to start a business. Tell me a little bit about that decision-making process.
I told you I started doing it when I was probably a sophomore in high school. Did it throughout high school. And went to Mount Wachusett Community College first year out of high school.
I did 2
I think I
weeks of
might have
that.
seen you there.
Yeah.
And it was okay. I did pretty well there. Then I transferred to Westfield State College.
Yeah.
And I had a great time out there at Westfield State, a really good time, but it didn't translate into success academically. So I did 1 year out there, and then I just realized that wasn't for me.
Yep.
And rather than just continually throwing money at that, because college is expensive,
It is.
I realized I did have a trade to fall back on, a skill.
Awesome.
And that's when I decided to start my own business.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's young, because you had to be less than 24.
Well,
Or right around 24.
I think I might have went back to the Northland Flooring for a few years.
Okay. Yeah.
Now that I think of it, because it was 1994 when I started my business.
I got you.
Yeah, it was. In fact, it was Memorial
So you
Day.
were 24, yeah.
It was Memorial Day weekend, 1994. That I did my first job.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and it's funny now that I think back on it. I ran an ad in the Boston Globe, of all things, in the classified section.
I remember that.
Yeah,
I remember that barely, but I do.
Yeah, the classifieds.
Yeah.
And I just said wood flooring installer, whatever, looking for work, this or that. And I got a call. It was a good sized job down in New Bedford, Mass, of all things. Yeah. And I scheduled it for Memorial Day weekend. My brother came and helped me. We banged it out. The customer loved it. And I said, I like this. And I've been doing it ever since.
You must have done it on the weekend because you still had the job at Northland.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say that, but that was.
Well, no, that's all contractors spend out.
Yeah, that was part of the reason for scheduling it over the holiday weekend.
So I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
The hustle was there.
Yeah.
You were diving in. You had two things going for a minute just to make sure you could get off and running.
Yep.
Look at the advertising difference too. Newspaper to what do we got today? It's all about the internet, right?
Be a lot easier today to get your name out there.
So I want to make sure I introduce someone else in the studio this morning that I haven't yet, and it's once again my beautiful wife Tina. And I think she may have told me earlier she has a question for Dana.
Oh, great.
Okay, I do have a question for you, Dana. What advice would you give to aspiring entrepreneurs?
Oh, wow. Well, have your ducks in a row, get organized, know what you want to do, make sure you're an absolute expert on whatever it is that you want to do. Learn as much about it as you can, take courses, go to seminars, whatever it might be, and then just throw yourself into it 100%. Make it the most important thing in your life, and dive in with both feet, and go from there.
Great answer. Great answer. So, what are some of the highs and lows with the flooring business? We'll start with the lows first.
The lows.
Dealing with contractors.
Yeah. In fact, over the years, over 30 years, I've dealt with I've dealt with all types, but sometimes you can run into, some people that aren't great, contractors that, just aren't great to work for. For whatever reason, they may be extremely cheap. They may not know what they're doing. They may be shady. But I've run into them over the years, and that's no fun. Slow periods can be tough because when you're self-employed, there's really not much to fall back on. When things slow down, you can't collect unemployment. You're kind of on your own. There's been some really, I think they call it the financial crisis of 2008.
Yeah,
that was a tough time. You might go a month without any work, and that's tough. Hopefully, if you're lucky, you've saved money and prepared for it. But so downturns in the economy are tough. Those are low points. Tough contractors, unreliable help
Oh yeah.
is a pain, you know. Guys that show up gung-ho and you think you've got a good employee, so you schedule a ton of work for you and your new employee, and then you get all the work scheduled, and then the employee just flakes out and takes off, and you never see him again.
Can I stop you, the guys there, and
Yeah.
just ask a quick question? So now that you've been doing this a while and you've hired quite a few people,
Yeah.
is there something specific you look for where you've noticed that it's panned out with people where that's going to be a good guy? Or is there something quickly or early into working with someone where it's nice that he's working with us now, but I'm pretty sure this isn't going to work?
Yeah.
Is there anything that you
Yeah.
look for?
Yeah, sometimes you can find someone who they almost seem too good for the job, you know? You just think they're perfect, but you realize pretty quickly that you're just a stepping stone for them.
Mhm.
And they want to move on to other things
Yep.
that they think are bigger and better things for them. And they
Yeah.
might be. It's not for everybody. But if you can find someone that isn't afraid to work hard and likes the idea of, supporting themselves and supporting their family with just a good, hard day's work.
Yeah.
It could be a great job for somebody.
And learning. They get to
You can
learn
a
something
ton.
that they
Yeah.
tuck in their pocket for the
Yeah.
rest of their life.
Right.
You know?
Even if they do go on to do something else, they can always have something like this to fall back on.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Sorry to
How about
interrupt
your
you.
highs?
My highs?
Working with Prefinished homes.
That's been one of my all-time highs, definitely. No, it is. It's when things are going good and you have good customers, it can almost feel like they feel like family, like you guys, really, all kidding aside. We have the Christmas parties and we have a good time. It's good, it's good to be able to see an old high school friend. I see him all the time now, 30 years later.
I'm in full agreement there.
Yeah, so that's a high.
Yeah.
But, and then when things are really going good and you have a few guys in your crew and everybody's making money and then you see that they're doing well and this one was able to buy a house and this one got married and it's rewarding.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a high. And being able to support myself and my family and make a living, it's pretty nice.
So I got a quick question. Can I jump in here? And it's something that I kind of answered a certain way. I think you'll probably agree. But how about you get done with the day, you're about to lock up the house, you
Yeah.
got to leave, and you look
Yeah.
back at what you did.
Yeah, that's
Tell me
great.
a little how you feel about that.
Yeah, being able to just step back and look at what you did for the day and see that you did, you can see what you accomplished. I mean, everybody goes to work and everybody accomplishes things, but be able to see the finished product at the end of the day is kind of nice.
Yeah.
And sometimes customers are so happy.
Grateful.
So thrilled.
Yeah.
They just
Seeing the beautiful results.
Yeah.
That you've done the floor.
Yeah, you can tell you really made,
Oh yeah.
you really made their
fantastic
day,
work.
made them happy. That's a good feeling. Yep, it is. The little kids come in and start running around on the floor, sliding across on this
Oh yeah.
in their socks.
And the floor
and,
shine. And
yep.
That's what every woman
Yeah.
loves.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I enjoy that. I do enjoy that. That's good. Thanks for
Yeah.
reminding me of that.
Well, no, it's everyone who does construction. That's
Yeah.
kind of what hooks you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You like the work. You like to work hard. It's better than sitting in an office. But then all of a sudden, at the end of each day, you're looking back and you say, "Wow,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
awesome."
Yeah.
Or you
that's
make
good.
that final handshake, collect your check, and the kids are doing exactly what
Yeah.
you said.
Yeah. The collecting
It's
the check
more-
part. That's one of the
that's
best
about-
parts. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I enjoy that.
Tina, do you have any other questions?
No.
How about, this is what she asked me last week, something funny that happened whether it be during the construction process or with a client.
Geez, I have to think about that. I've had some
We always have some good laughs. So
yeah. I can remember one time I was working at a job. I was upstairs working and working really hard, and my helper came up and said, I think his name was Jerry. He said, "Jerry needs you to move your van." And I was like, "God, for God's sakes, what the heck? Why won't this guy leave me alone? I'm trying to get the damn job done." And he's standing right at the bottom of the stairs, and I didn't realize it. And I'm like, "What are you what do you need me to move the van for? He's like, well, I want to go buy pizza for you guys for lunch. And I'm like, oh gosh. I'm like, I'm sorry, Jerry.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I felt like an idiot. Yeah, stuff like that happens sometimes. You got to be careful. You never know who's around. You never know when the customer's right around the corner, you know? So you got.
Well, at the time, we probably felt a little awkward, but it was a great laugh for all of us just now.
Yeah,
so,
I think Jerry and I laughed about it too.
How about it with the client? What about I'm just this is off the cuff, so but what about with Mrs. The Mrs. We'll cut that out, the name, but what about with her? You must have had some laughs and some fun with her over the years and stuff.
Well, I love working for people like her because they love to feed you.
Yeah.
You know, you show up in the morning and there's a full breakfast with coffee and.
What a fantastic client! If they could only.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I know. Then there's lunch,
Oh,
and it's like, you know,
could cook.
if you keep feeding me like this, I'm never gonna get the job done. I'm
You're
never
never
gonna
gonna
leave.
leave, yeah.
Exactly. I love customers who feed me. Absolutely.
Yes.
You love them so much that you now live like a quarter mile from her, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
I really appreciate you and your work. That's what I.
And that's awesome
Yeah.
because she turned you on to that place, right? One of your clients turned you on to the place that you just bought
Yeah,
recently.
she did actually. Yeah, she helped
That's a
facilitate
great
that
client.
whole deal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when you do something inside someone's home like that, you kind of develop a connection with them,
Yeah.
and they trust you,
Yeah.
and they can vouch for you.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's some value in that for sure.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's cool. So let's get into some nuts and bolts.
Oh, we're not done? I thought we were done. I thought that was easy. All right.
Yeah, we just got started.
What do you want to get into?
All right. Tell me a little bit about every job. I'm a contractor, so I might want to be pushing things to get done as quick as possible, and you always have to slow me down.
Yeah.
And we have to get the floor to acclimate. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Hardwood is a natural product.
Yep.
So it responds to different levels of humidity in the air and in the subfloor and the surroundings that you're installing the product. So typically we'll start with the subfloor. You want the subfloor to be at about a 7% moisture content. That's the amount of moisture that's in the subfloor at the time.
Whether it be plywood, pine boards from way back, whatever it is.
And then really it's as simple as when you install the wood flooring, it wants to the moisture content of the wood flooring wants to be within about 4% of the moisture content in the subfloor that you're working with. So say 7 or 8% is what you're working with, then your flooring, the moisture content wants to be within about, 10 wants to be at about 10 or 11%.
Okay.
Within 4%, basically, either way. And once you get it to within that range, then your flooring is acclimated.
And how long does that take usually?
It depends on the conditions.
Okay.
It could take as few as 3 or 4 days, or it could take as much as a week or a week and a half.
Okay.
New England is notoriously tough because of some of the wild, swings in weather. In the summer we have extreme heat and humidity.
Yeah.
And in the winter we have obviously cold. And when it's cold and when you're running the heat in the home to heat the home, it dries out. It dries everything out.
Especially if it's like they're burning wood or something like that.
I mean, if you're running the heat at 75 degrees constantly for weeks or months at a time, you're going to have a very dry atmosphere, dry subfloors, etc. And the way to combat that is adding humidity into the atmosphere via a humidifier.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in the winter, or I should say in the summer, you want to kind of eliminate the humidity via a dehumidifier. And a lot of heating systems, HVAC, all that, they have these systems included in the system.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have a hydronic. You're saying they have moisture content within the system.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's important.
Because I do know forced hot air without that is pretty dry, scorching heat.
You'll have problems.
Yeah.
You'll have problems. Wood when it's excessively dry, the wood will shrink,
Yep.
and that's when you see those gaps in the
Yeah.
flooring. That at the end of every heating season, I get calls to come look at their floors because they say they're shrinking and there's gaps. More often than not, it's just normal shrinkage.
That's right. Yeah.
Which when humidity is reintroduced to the atmosphere, those gaps will close up normally.
Yep.
So there's a normal amount of shrinkage that's acceptable. But of course, it can be excessive, which is unacceptable, and that could be indicative of a larger problem.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, and that's a hard one too. We have it on our spec sheet for new construction projects.
Yep.
It talks about that.
Yep.
But when a customer you could tell them 1,000 times
Doesn't
up
matter.
front.
Yep.
When they
They're gonna
see that
panic.
gap,
Yep.
they can't wait till the spring for it to see it go.
Wood flooring is a living, breathing kind of product, so
Yep.
it's gonna move naturally with the seasons.
Well, this whole subject has made me think of a Seinfeld episode, but
Oh,
I'm
boy.
not going to get into that.
Everything goes back to a Seinfeld
Oh, yeah, of
episode.
course.
Yeah.
Wood, Jerry. Wood. Wood is good. Definitely.
So the since you talked about acclimating and hardwood, let's talk about LVP. Pretty big nowadays, huh?
It is. Yeah. I think
pluses, minuses. Or is it all pluses?
no, there's a little bit of both, but I think the advent or the popularity of LVP, it's been around for a while, but as you said, it's become extremely popular. It's I'd say a more affordable. It can be a more affordable option versus solid hardwood. There's certain applications I think where it's perfect. LVP it's basically a plastic or a vinyl floor. There's no wood in it. It's all plastic and or vinyl, and so it's waterproof, which is a great quality. But it's also a floating floor. It's not secured to anything with nails or staples or anything like that. So it's perfect over concrete, for instance.
Right.
It's perfect over radiant heat.
Yeah.
Where you have the heating coils in the subfloor, and I mean it can be used as a traditional floor as well over plywood. It's a great option.
Of course. Yeah.
I'd say the affordability of it is probably one of the most attractive things.
Yeah.
You can get it probably for about as much as 40% less than a traditional hardwood floor. Yeah. And the longer it's been around, the better it's gotten as far as the realistic look to it.
I agree. Yeah.
They can emboss like different grain, color patterns to mimic different species of wood.
Yeah.
So it's a good option that way. It's a good option if you just want something, you just want to get something done quick and affordable. It's a good option to have. You put it down, come in the morning, put it down. It's done at the end of the day. Customer can walk on it at the end of the day. There's no sanding, polyurethane, or anything like that. And like I said, it's I mean, you can spend, just like anything else, you can spend more, you could almost spend as much as you want on it, but for the most part, on average, if you just get a good, decent product, it's going to cost you less than a solid hardwood floor.
So you can have the vapor barrier already part of the floor, or you can buy a separate vapor barrier, right? Now, how do you feel about the vapor barrier that's part of the floor? Just as good?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's great. Yeah, less moving parts.
Yeah.
Less things that can go wrong. It's right there on the back of the flooring. You click it together and it's done.
Yeah.
Now again, if you have a problem with a flood or a burst pipe, I mean this stuff isn't,
No,
you're
of
still
course.
gonna
gonna
have an
swell a little
issue.
bit. Yeah.
But overall, particularly from the top down, it's waterproof. So if you stay on top of things, if you have a spill on it or something like that, as long as you just wipe it up and don't let it sit over the course of time, you're going to be fine.
So
it's very resilient.
Yep.
It's resilient for traffic, for the kids, the toys, rolling toys around on it, pet nails on the pet's paws. It's very resilient, more so than I think even solid wood flooring.
Yeah, I'm kind of going in reverse now, but speaking of wood flooring, let's talk a little bit about pre-finish versus unfinished sand and finish after.
Right. Again, pre-finish is a great product. I think the reason a lot of people make the decision to go with pre-finish is the fact that you don't need to sand it.
Yeah.
Sanding can be one of the, kind of the bigger, let's say, impediments to people wanting to get wood floors. They're always
That's
asking.
about a 22 on that word.
Yeah, they're
That's
always
a great
asking.
word.
Is there going to be dust? How bad will the dust be? Am I going to have dust all over my house? Dust. That's what they want to know about. And
yeah, because they probably have a friend that got one, and they're still cleaning the dust above
Right.
their kitchen counter. Or
right.
whatever.
So, we have dust collectors, we have bags, we have vacuums, and we do the best we can to contain the dust. But when you do a project like this, there's going to be dust.
How about the finish on a pre-finished? How is that?
It's good.
Yeah.
It's a factory finish. You're able you get it from the factory, so they're able to put multiple coats.
Yeah.
5, 6, 7, 8 coats of polyurethane, whereby the standard, refinishing or sanding job that we do 3 coats of poly.
Okay.
That's industry standard, and that's great.
Yeah.
But because it's a factory finish, they're able to really bake on multiple coats of finish. They add in an aluminum oxide into the finish that really gives it that really
sheen, nice sheen.
the sheen, but the durability.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it really creates a really durable finish.
All right.
And so people like the pre-finish because you can come in, say you have a family room, you want to do hardwood floors.
Yep.
I could come in the morning, install the new pre-finished floor, and you could be back in that family room that night with the family watching TV. Yeah. Whereas with an unfinished floor, we'd come in the first day, we'd still install the floor, but then we'd have to come back the next day and sand the floor, put the first coat of polyurethane on, and then we'd have to come back 2 more times to put the second and third coats of polyurethane on. So you're talking about 4 days that you're going to be disrupted, which is fine. To get something of this quality, you have to expect a little disruption, but for some people, the pre-finish is just an easier option. Yeah.
And it looks good. So I will say 10 years ago, you had those really thick grooves in the middle of each one. It would be a dust collector. It didn't look hot. Now, that stuff looks
Those are
better
gone.
Beautiful.
It really looks nice.
We call those, that was the V groove.
Yeah.
We call that. It's literally a V that goes in.
Yeah.
Now it's a micro bevel. It's just a tiny little bevel between each row.
Yeah.
And it's almost imperceptible. And people love it. It's a great product.
So I think a subject that's near and dear to my wife's heart right now is let's talk about cleaning them.
Easy.
I know she loves to clean and have it be easy, so maybe she doesn't love to, but she likes it when
I
it's
like
easy.
the results out.
Yeah.
I clean the floors and they look shiny and smooth and just
It's very easy.
magnificent.
That's something people have always said. The beauty of hardwood is just the ease of which to keep them clean.
What's your favorable?
Well, it
most
depends what
favorable
you're trying to do. If you're just cleaning up quick, you can sweep them.
Okay.
Sweep them quick
Yeah.
if that's what they need. A Swiffer, to pick up the dust. What is it? The Swiffer jet or wet jet or ink jet, whatever. You can use that.
Right.
Or if you're doing a big cleaning for company or for whatever the case may be, you can damp mop them.
Oh yeah.
Don't soak them. You don't want to soak them. You just want to wring out your mop. But if you just mop them like that, maybe add like a cleaner specific to wood floors, like Fauna.
Yeah, you told me that.
Wood floor
way
cleaner.
Back when
Yep.
I lived in Milford.
Really?
How many houses has he done for us now? For us personally?
Oh gosh. Okay, so
Milford, Ringe. He did work in Townsend, but that was for my dad, Fitchburg, and then
Bloomberg.
3.
oh, that's 4. That's 4.
Yeah, several. It's hard. You've had so many homes over the years. It's hard to keep track, but
Yeah.
we've done floors in all of them.
Yeah.
And like you said, we worked for your father too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Which goes way back.
Oh yeah. Right.
I think we did something in the cabins.
He did renovated all the cabins at
the
one
Harrison
point.
Motor Court, right?
Yeah.
Is that what it was called?
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah, we did.
Way back.
That's going way back. So, and you're not the only guy. I have several contractors I work for that it's multi-generational, I guess, if you will.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, where it's I worked for the father for many, many years, and now I'm working for the son. and then I see that individual's son on the job site, and I think someday I'll be working for him.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so it's good. Yeah.
Well, I'm very thankful to have Dan. Do you have any other questions?
Okay, I have a very serious question.
Oh, wow.
boy, let's get serious.
Okay, this is the question of the week.
Oh, boy.
Everyone's asking.
Okay.
If there were 100 men versus one gorilla, who wins?
I've seen this. I've seen memes about this. I didn't know what it was all about, but I'm psyched that you brought it up.
I want to know. I haven't seen this. So when it's on a reel on Facebook right now?
Yeah, it's the big question of the day. Think about it. Think about a gorilla. You know what I mean? I'd hate to be the first guy out of those 100 that goes up to the gorilla.
I know, right?
But I would like to think with 100 people, I think that the 100 men eventually should be able to overcome the gorilla.
You get some big football
Right.
players.
Some people are going to have to sacrifice themselves for the cause.
Yeah, and you're right. When you see them people struggling, you're like, we got to go.
Then you jump in, and you might lose them too. But by the end,
right, yeah.
by the end,
last 50,
we should be able to.
That's right.
Yeah,
It's all based on numbers, especially when it's 100, right?
Yeah, but you've seen
You
a
get
gorilla,
like
though.
10 guys
look at
on
King
one
Kong.
leg, though. You can get 10 on every
can you?
body part.
I mean, one swipe of
When
that
they
giant.
start,
Oh, man.
I think.
Yeah.
I go with the people, too.
Yeah.
Dana, anything you want to say to everyone before we bust out of here?
I want to thank you for having me here today. I was kind of nervous about it leading up to it, but it's been fantastic. I've had fun. And also, I want to say how impressed I am with this setup you have here, John. Congratulations.
Don't thank me. It's Chris, Kevin, and Amanda and Chassia put this whole thing together.
Yeah.
So
just like anything, it's the back crew, the
behind the scenes.
I'm
behind
so
the scenes
thankful
crew.
for
You
that.
guys are great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thanks for making me feel comfortable, and thanks for having me.
Well, we're thankful you came, and you know what? As the podcast goes on, we'll probably have you back.
All right, great.
I'd love to have you if you're willing to. We'd love to have you back again.
God willing, and the creek don't rise.
So we're signing off from Built Different Podcast. Thank you everybody that made it this far. And the last thing I want to say is, John Delaney, don't forget to like, comment, or share. Thank you very much. Have a good afternoon.
See ya.